When I hear someone speak about other people, I do not listen only for facts. I listen for appetite. I listen for the emotional flavor beneath the words. Is there sadness, restraint, reluctance, or is there enjoyment? Is there a kind of liveliness that appears only when another person is being exposed, reduced, or quietly humiliated? That is not a small detail. That is a window into character. A person may speak critically and still be decent. Mature people sometimes have to name what is real. They notice selfishness, manipulation, weakness, vanity, and they do not pretend not to see it. But there is a certain weight in sincere judgment. It is measured. It is reluctant. It does not feed on the weakness it describes. The other kind of person is different. They come alive in the presence of someone else's flaw. They lower their voice and become intimate with you as if they are offering wisdom, but what they are really offering is a bond built on shared contempt. They want closeness through exposure. They want connection through the reduction of a third person. And many people fall for this because it feels like trust. It is not trust. It is rehearsal. Because the person who delights in stripping dignity from others will eventually practice that same habit on you. Maybe not today. Maybe not while you are useful, admired, or emotionally close. But the instinct is already there. The instinct matters more than the target. I learned this lesson years ago over coffee with someone I had known casually through a broader social circle. Let me call her Nina. She was intelligent, quick, observant, the kind of person who could read a room fast and describe everyone in it with almost surgical precision. At first, I mistook that for depth. I thought she was perceptive, and in some ways she was. But slowly, I noticed something else. Whenever she spoke about another person's marriage, ambition, insecurity, or mistake, there was a strange pleasure in it. Not concern, not clarity, pleasure. She once described a mutual acquaintance's failure at work with such polished sympathy that another person at the table even nodded along. But I remember sitting there and feeling something cold underneath her tone. The story was too carefully arranged. The compassion was too decorative. The center of it was not sorrow. It was superiority. That was the moment I understood her better. A person who uses other people's exposed moments as emotional entertainment is telling you something important about their inner life. They are telling you they do not merely notice weakness. They feed on the position of not being the one exposed. They use other people's vulnerabilities to stabilize their own ego. Look at reality for what it is. This pattern appears everywhere. In families where one sibling quietly becomes the subject that binds everyone else together. In workplaces where gossip is disguised as concern. In friendships where one person stays close by always bringing someone else down. In marriage, too, it can appear in more intimate ways, when private pain is turned into narrative currency rather than protected with dignity. The consequence of missing this is serious. If you let yourself be seduced by someone's sharpness, you may begin to mistake emotional cruelty for intelligence. You may think, they are just honest. They just see through people. But seeing through people is not the same as respecting what you see. A wise person can understand weakness without becoming intoxicated by it. That is the difference. The fourth lesson is this. Study what makes a person impatient. This is one of the clearest ways I know to read someone because impatience exposes desire in motion. It shows you where someone feels entitled, where they feel threatened, where they cannot bear delay, ambiguity, or loss of control. When a person is calm, many things remain hidden. But when timing does not obey them, instinct begins to leak through. Think about it. Some people become impatient when they are not admired quickly enough. Some become impatient when they cannot control the conversation. Some become impatient when affection is not immediately returned, when plans change, when work becomes difficult, when they are not centered, when another person has boundaries, when recognition is delayed, when life refuses to move according to their private script. That impatience is not random. It points to the place where desire is strongest and self-mastery is weakest. There is a line of wisdom I have carried with me for a long time. When a person cannot wait, they reveal what rules them. That is not because waiting is always noble. It is because restraint tests structure. A person may appear composed while life is cooperative, but let the moment resist them. Let another person say no. Let recognition arrive late. Let uncertainty linger. Then watch carefully what surfaces first: anger, panic, charm turned into pressure, withdrawal, quiet punishment. This is where most people get it wrong. They think impatience is just temperament, and sometimes on the surface it is. But underneath temperament is often something deeper: fear of irrelevance, hunger for control, fragile pride, emotional dependency, ambition without discipline, desire without restraint. You see this in everyday life more than people realize. A friend grows cold because you did not respond quickly enough. A coworker becomes sharp because credit was delayed. A romantic partner becomes subtly manipulative because your emotional pace is slower than their need for reassurance. A parent becomes controlling because your adult independence threatens the role they once held in your life. It is not because the moment itself is unbearable. It is because the moment touches something ungoverned inside them. And if you do not learn to read that, you will keep taking their reactions at face value. You will think the issue is the schedule, the message, the decision, the misunderstanding. But often the deeper issue is structure, their inner structure, what they can and cannot regulate when reality stops cooperating. A wise person pays close attention to this, not to judge harshly, but to see clearly. Because the impatient are often easy to charm in the short term and difficult to trust in the long term. Anyone can seem warm when life is moving in their favor. The real test is what happens when they have to wait without losing their dignity. That is composure. That is character. And the fifth lesson brings everything down to the level where it truly matters. If you want to read people well, watch how they behave when your role in their life begins to change. This is where philosophy becomes personal, because many people are not attached to you as a whole human being. They are attached to the role you play in their emotional economy. The listener, the helper, the strong one, the agreeable one, the one who forgives, the one who admires, the one who stays, the one who asks for little, the one who keeps peace. As long as you remain in that role, things can feel stable, warm even. But the moment you begin to change, the truth begins to surface. You set a boundary. Their warmth cools. You become less available. Their affection becomes guilt. You stop admiring them so freely. Their kindness grows thin. You begin protecting your time, your inner life, your dignity, and suddenly they say you are different. Do you see the turning point here? The real question is not whether someone values you when you are easy to fit into their life. The real question is whether they can respect your growth when it inconveniences the place you once held for them. That question has ended a great deal of confusion for me, because time changes all of us. Work changes us. Marriage changes us. Family burdens change us. Grief changes us. Loneliness changes us. Ambition changes us. Maturity changes us most of all, because maturity teaches us to stop offering ourselves in ways that destroy our center. And when that happens, not every relationship survives. Some people can adapt because their care is real. They may need time, they may feel lost, but they adjust with dignity. Others cannot adjust because what they loved was not your full humanity. It was your usefulness, your predictability, your emotional labor, your silence, your willingness to remain small enough for their comfort. That is painful to see, but it is better to see it than to spend years calling it love. So what do these 5 lessons finally reveal? They reveal that reading people better is not about becoming suspicious of everyone. It is about learning where to place your attention. Watch what people consistently protect. Watch who they are when there is nothing to gain. Watch the spirit in which they speak of others. Watch what makes them impatient. Watch what happens when your role in their life begins to change. That is what a wise person actually watches for. Because what truly reveals a fake person is not one bad day or one flawed moment. It is the repeated gap between appearance and structure, between the image they present and the instinct that governs them. And why do so many people mistake performance for sincerity? Because performance is often polished, emotionally intelligent, and timed well. It arrives in the form we most want to believe. But maturity asks more of us. Not perfection, not coldness, not constant suspicion, just clarity. The mature person is not a saint, not perfect, but someone who knows what matters, knows what to protect, knows what to let go of, knows when to wait, and knows when to act. Thank you for staying with me until the end here on Guiguzi Strategic Wisdom. If this gave language to something you have felt but struggled to name, subscribe if you have not already. Share this with someone who may need it. Leave a comment with your own thoughts or experience, and continue the journey with this channel. I'm Sophia, the writer behind these videos. I'll see you in the next one.